Hey there, Fletch from All Things Overlanding here, and today I'm going to tell you about the Sea to Summit Spark 0 Degree sleeping bag. If you are a cold weather camper like me, if you go in single digits, negative temps, things like that, a good sleeping bag cannot be overstated. It's worth the money to spend a little bit more to get something that is going to potentially save your life, or at least make sure that you have a good night's sleep instead of being, just horrifically cold and shivering the whole night and not able to sleep at all. So again, that's why I picked up this Spark 0 Degree bag. I'm going to run you through all the dimensions of it. I'm going to take it out of the bag. I'm going to show you everything that comes in the bag. I'm going to kind of walk you through this whole sleeping bag. So again, if you are looking for a good quality but slightly more expensive sleeping bag, this may be a good option for you. So I want to give you as much info on it as possible. So let's talk more about the Sea to Summit Spark 0 Degree sleeping bag.
Understand where it came from, but you got it, my got it. It began in the land of the sandstorm. I fought it, though I wanted everything to do with what you give to me.
All right, guys, so this is the Sea to Summit Spark. This is a 0 Degree bag, but as it says here on the bag, you're going to notice some things. If you're not familiar with sleeping bags, particularly down sleeping bags, but really all of them have this, most of them lean into the lower limit, basically what you can survive if you have this sleeping bag. You won't be comfortable, you probably won't sleep a whole lot, but you'll be warm enough that you won't die. That's the lower limit. One thing that I like about Sea to Summit is that they tell you, this is the lower limit. This is a 0 Degree bag, but where you're really going to be comfortable is about 14 degrees. 14 degrees or warmer, this bag is perfect. It's going to be warm and comfy. You're not going to have to worry about it. If it gets down towards 0 degrees, then this will keep you alive, but again, you might be cold. And I like that they show that on there, and that while it is a 0 Degree bag, they do also, right on the front here, show you exactly what the comfort level is versus the lower limit. They show you here that it is 850 plus down, and I'm going to show you something here in a second that comes in this bag where they actually do a test on the sample of down that's in the bag, and they verify it for you. And then there's different bag lengths. Now, I go long because I'm 6'2", and I always hate sort of feeling like crushed in the sleeping bag or like, super mummified. I get a little claustrophobic, but I went long on both of those, and I tell you what, they are super nice. They're so long, and again, being someone that's 6'2", it's really nice to have plenty of room to stretch out in the sleeping bag. Now, another thing that I love about these is, and I complain about this a lot with tons of gear that I get. For some reason, companies put these things in bags that are entirely too small for them. They use a machine to like crush up the sleeping bag and jam it into the bag. This one comes with this really nice big bag with a netted top on it. So if you got it smoky or it was stinky, or you had to wash it and you needed it to dry out, or it got rained on or something and you wanted it to get some air and to ventilate, you can put it in this big bag, and then it has this mesh on the top so that it can ventilate and sort of get the smells out or get the water out, that sort of thing. So I really like that they think about that. There's also a handle down here, so it makes, just picking it up and carrying it really super easy, throwing it around. It's also sort of cube shaped, which I think is really cool. They could have made this round, right, like most sleeping bags, but they made it sort of cube shaped, which makes it easier to stack on things or stack things around it. Now, being down, it will compress quite a bit, and I'm going to show you here in a second too that it does come with a separate stuff sack. So if you needed to compress it and put it in a backpack for backpacking or something like that, you could do that. Now, one thing that I've heard in my comments that I didn't realize before, but is super helpful, and I wanted to call out now, is that with down sleeping bags, it can actually hurt the down if you keep them compressed for long periods of time. So you don't really want to keep it in that cinch sack permanently. You want to maybe put it in there for your trip, but then when you get home, take it back out and put it in this big bag so that it can breathe a little bit and it can open back up and expand. So just an FYI, the cinch sack is for like trips and stuff, but then I would keep it in this bag. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to keep it in my rooftop tent, so it'll be laid out flat. Now it will get compressed a little bit when the rooftop tent closes, but it's not, it's not just going to sandwich it in there. It's still going to have some room to breathe. So I plan to just leave mine up in the rooftop tent whenever I'm not on a trip, and then just, take it out and wash it whenever I need to, and then throw it back up in there and just keep it in there. So I never have to worry about forgetting it. All right, but so let's dig into the bag here a little bit, and let me show you everything that comes with this thing. Then we'll get it out and we will run through some dimensions and things like that. I'm going to kind of show you guys the bag. I'm going to show you the features of the bag as well. All right, so let's start by opening this thing up. It's got this nice little sort of stubby zipper. Now it only opens up just about that much. So it allows you to basically get the sleeping bag out, but it doesn't open all the way on the top. I don't know what the reason for that design choice is, but it works fine. It's just an interesting choice. Now in here you get this, which is your down filling report. And again, they give you like a nice little letter and everything that explains why they do this and how important it is to have this certification that shows that their down is top quality and that the fill rate is correct. And then they give you this whole sort of scientific thing that tells you the actual results for the down that went into your sleeping bag. So it's like a third-party company that does this test and this review to see how much of it is goose down, duck down, goose feathers, duck feathers, whatever, and it goes through all that stuff. Now, I'm not a scientist, I don't know what a lot of that stuff means, but I do think that it's nice that they take the extra step to sort of have it certified, and again, it's a testament to their quality of the stuff that they make, that they go through that extra step, which again, you're not going to find this in most sleeping bags that you see. As I kind of mentioned already too, you do get this stuff sack, which is just a really nice thing. Like again, they don't have to include this. My Coleman 0 degree bag did not come with a stuff sack and then a separate storage sack. So it's really nice that they throw this in here. It matches color-wise. It tells you what bag it's for. It's got a big old handle on the top here. So again, if you're going to pack this down and take it backpacking or something like that, or throw it in a backpack, this is a great way to compress it and make it take up less space. So while we're looking at this little card that comes with it, it's actually got the dimensions right here. So with the long bag, what it says is that the maximum user height should be about 6 foot 6 inches or less. It says for regular, like the regular length bag, you could fit up to a 6 foot person, which is why as a 6'2" person, I always feel super tight in these things. And I like that they have that long option. And then they have a double, which is, you know, twice as wide, but that is also long enough for a 6'6" person. So you can actually get this in a double or the single like this. I mostly go solo. So for me, it just made sense to do the solo. Now in the long here, it's basically 65 inches across the shoulders. It's 57.1 inches across on the hips. And then the foot box is about 44.1 inches. Okay, so let's take the sleeping bag out now. I'm gonna kind of hold it up. Again, I kind of ran through the dimensions already, but I'm just gonna hold it up so that you can see it compared to me as somebody that's 6'2", so you kind of have an idea of what it looks like, how long it is, and then you can kind of compare it to my height and size for yourself. So again, I'm 6'2", about 230. So I'm not the smallest guy ever, but I'm not huge either. But so, you know, holding this up, here's the head box here where my head is gonna go. And then as you can see, the feet go down to the feet. On me, it'd be about right like this. So as you can see, it's just about perfect, if not a couple inches longer. I can attest for my other one, my other Sea to Summit Ascent bag, that I feel like I have like 3 or 4 inches of extra room. I can kind of scoot myself all the way down. If the mummy thing is kind of wrapping around my head and feeling a little too enclosed, I can actually kind of scoot down a couple inches and I get plenty of room in there, which is really nice. Now on my Ascent bag, the zippers basically only went down to about maybe like chest level. So you can only unzip it just a little bit. Somebody asked in a question, somebody asked in the comments on that video, you know, can I like unzip it and use it as a quilt? On that sleeping bag, you really can't. It's really intended to be a mummy bag. Now, this one is too, but you can see the zipper goes all the way down here, most of the way to the feet. So while you couldn't lay it completely flat, the zipper is just on this one side where you see the yellow here. You could unzip it and then you could lay it over top of yourself. So again, my intention with having the Ascent AC2 and this one is to have one that's like a fall bag so that I'm not miserably uncomfortable, you know, when it's not super cold, but it's cool enough, like 30s, 20s, 30s. And then when it gets really cold, I'm going to swap out to this bag that is way more aggressive and will take me down to 0 degrees or 14 degrees comfortably. So I like having both those options. But if you just wanted one, especially the fact that this one zips all the way down here, you could potentially just unzip it, kind of throw it over yourself like a blanket or something like that, and then you could use that. Now, I personally am a diesel heater user. I use a diesel heater. That's kind of how I can survive in those really low temps. But I always get a little nervous about that. I've had buddies who theirs have shut off. Mine did shut off one time in the middle of the night, and I didn't feel like getting up and restarting it. And so having a bag like this means that you've got a backup. Even if you are using a heated blanket or a diesel heater or something like that, having a good solid bag like this could potentially, again, save your life. And I know that sounds a little dramatic, and I'm not trying to be, but it could be. I mean, I'm telling you, the last time I camped and my diesel heater kicked off at about 4 in the morning, I woke up and I thought, oh, great, why did my diesel heater just shut off? I was in my 15 degree bag, which is comfort level of about 30, and it was about high teens probably. And I mean, I don't think I slept a whole lot from then until about 7 when I woke up. I think for those 3 hours, I was like, why didn't I just get up and turn the diesel heater back on? Because it was so cold that, you know, even with the nice down and stuff in that Ascent bag, it was past its comfort zone and down towards its survival rating, which is why I was cold, right? But having something like this, again, a good quality bag, while it is an investment and it does cost a little bit more money, it's great to have something like this because it could literally mean the difference between a miserable night at the least, or potentially a dangerous situation if you're too cold and you can't get out. Again, though, keep in mind, if you're in a vehicle, if you're overlanding like I do a lot, you can always get in the vehicle and start it up and run it overnight if you need to, turn the heat on. Don't say that that's not an option. Don't let other people talk you out of it or bully you into thinking you're not a man if you don't, stick it out in your tent or whatever. You can always get in your vehicle, but having something like this, again, is a really nice redundant sort of backup to have in the event of a failure from some of your more technological equipment like a diesel heater, or running out of battery, let's say using a heated blanket. So I'm super excited about this thing. I can tell you right now, it's really super thick. Like down in the foot box here, it's going to be so warm. My feet are always cold. I am always one of those people that has really cold feet. And so having like a really nice, really padded, down-filled foot box is something that I love because, again, even in that Ascent sleeping bag, I slept like a baby, except for that one night when it got really, really cold. Because that foot box is enclosed, it doesn't unzip down there. It keeps all that heat in. And then the same with the Mummy at the top here too. If you really get cold and your diesel heater's shut off, or you have no other options, or you're just using a sleeping bag, mummying this thing up and zipping it is huge. It makes a huge difference, and you will actually be really warm. So this is a really nice sleeping bag to have for those colder trips if you're a cold weather camper like me. All right, guys. So as you saw there, the Sea to Summit Spark sleeping bag is a fantastic bag. Is it more expensive than all of the sort of cheap ones that you see on Amazon? Yes. But do those come with a, down fluff test? Do they, do the testing? Do they actually work on having the best materials and building a bag that's meant to last for a really long time? And also, again, potentially sometimes save your life or help you get a good night's sleep when it's so important, especially in those sort of acclimate conditions like freezing cold, right? Until I switched to these better down bags, now I totally understand how people can sleep in hammocks in the winter, how, backpackers can hike out. It's also extremely light, being a down bag, which is nice. If you are a backpacker, you could put it in that cinch sack and sort of cinch it down, and it won't take up much room in your gear. So again, whether you're a backpacker or an overlander or just a camper, if you want to be comfortable and you want to go in colder temperatures, something like this Spark sleeping bag may be a great option to get you out there in a more safe way and also in a more comfortable way. So if you're looking to pick up something like this sleeping bag, there'll be a link in the description down below, so it'll make it as easy as possible to find. Of course, if you have any questions about the sleeping bag, just post up down below in the comments, and I'm happy to answer whatever I can. Also in the description down below will be links to all my other social channels, so if you want more all things overlanding, definitely check those out. There's also a link to my website where I've got funny camping and overlanding themed stickers and patches, things like don't burn your wiener and it's a hot dog, or I hate people so I camp, that kind of thing. Just funny, interesting patches and stickers. So if you're looking for something like that, check those out. And then there's also the join button down below, and basically what that is it's just sort of a passive way to support the channel. No pressure whatsoever, but if you're enjoying the content and you want to support the channel, that's a really low effort. Click the button and you basically just sign up. You get some early access to the videos and some other perks. So if you're interested in that, check that out. And then last but not least, there are links to my Patreon page where we've got a 24/7 Discord, and we all kind of chat about our gear and our rigs and questions, and the expos coming up. We're going to have a couple trips every year, so that's going to be a ton of fun. And then there's the Newbie Overlanders Facebook group, which is totally free to join. If you're looking for a place to kind of not get beat up for asking questions, or if you're experienced even and you don't really have so much questions, but you just are tired of all the bullying, that may be a great place for you. We'd love to have you. So again, thanks so much for watching. Hope you learned a lot about this Sea to Summit Spark sleeping bag, and we'll see you next time.